Welcome back, everyone, to the St. Pete by Night Twitch stream where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer World of Darkness chronicle set in St. Petersburg, Florida. Not St. Petersburg, Russia, like a lot of people seem to immediately assume when they hear that. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night. And tonight, we are taking a trip across the bay to Tampa, as we do on Tuesdays, to visit the guru of Tampa in Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle. It's been a while. We've missed you guys. We've missed seeing you. We've missed streaming for you. We've missed playing. But of course, we took a break for our Kindred Con celebration last weekend, where a whole bunch of these Guru and Kindred and Hunters flocked their way down south to the state of Florida to gather together in some sort of unholy congregation of nerddom, fandom, and World of Darkness love. But we're back, and it's time to get back to the action, to the regular content that you all tune in to see. And that content couldn't happen if it wasn't for our amazing players. Players, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Gale Stalker Arun.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, whatever you want to call me, Eldritch Horror, I don't care. I will be playing Aspen Weiss, the Phylodox Silverfang.
Hello, everyone. I am Nori, and I'll be playing Malicious Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hi, everybody. I'm Simon. I'll be playing Joseph Ashspeaker, the Theurge from the Ghost Council.
So last we met our pack, last we saw them, they had made the decision to deliver a tear of Gaia, a very, very precious relic, to one Eliza Ross, a fallen theurge of the Stargazer tribe that had fallen to the depths of Hirano, a depressive state that all but consumes the wolf within a member of the Guru. It saps their very ability to shift. It saps their connections to the spirits beyond. It literally cuts them off from everything that they've come to know about being what they are. It almost returns them to a state similar to that of a typical mortal, but even less so, because all of their passion, all of their rage, all of their love, desire, will is completely gone. But because this pack ventured into the Umbra, because they believed within that they needed the help of Eliza, that they needed her wisdom, her insight, and her experience to help push them forward, they battled horrors from the past, impressions of the future, and terrors of the present within the Umbra to secure one of these tears of Gaia, to return it to Eliza Ross, and to take on probably the more difficult challenge of convincing her that she was in fact deserving of a second chance amongst the Guru, that she had more to give and more to do for the future of Gaia, for the future of the Guru within Tampa, and to battle back against the ever-growing, ever-desiccating presence that is the worm. And I'm happy to say that they were successful in doing so. They did manage to convince Eliza, who had all but given up on life itself. And she didn't go easily. She put up quite a fight, but their combined efforts, their passion, their fervor, their fury, and their willingness to put what is the past to rest, to overcome their own personal challenges, even the challenge of being Guru itself, to overcome those challenges and to prove that there was still a fight to be had in Tampa, that it was not lost, that it was not over, and that the losses they had sustained were necessary but would not be in vain. Now, after some time has passed, a lot has changed in the world. Not only did the Guru lose what seems to be 3 weeks in the Umbra, but the world didn't stand still. Joseph found himself working a lot more than he expected at his shop as the shop decided to uproot and move locations further down the street in Ybor City and up on the second floor of its new establishment, which meant taking a lot of boxes and crates and various wares up those stairs before trotting back down to the van or the moving truck and grabbing an entire new load to go up again. On top of that, he had many, many clients to touch base with who had been missing his mystical foresight, and their money had the chance to travel elsewhere, and he had to win back their goodwill. So that's been keeping him busy. Aspen, you did have to go back to work in your legal capacity, though the holiday break did afford you some reprieve. There were definitely some curious eyes within the office that were interested in where you had been and what you had been doing. But Rachel, your employer and friend, gave you some grace and some leeway as you had put in some notice that you might be working on some special projects and that she had to trust that you knew what you were doing and you would report in if there was anything amiss. Jester, your experience has been difficult, probably the most difficult of everyone, as the fate of your friends and companions and members within the Stheno group have been waiting in the balance. While you've cut off all of your connections to everyone outside of the pack, you have still tried to raise money. You've still tried to pursue leads, but you've also still tried to keep your head down to avoid the forces that are still leading a manhunt to this very night to find you, to find the last remaining member of what they are calling now a terrorist organization, to put them behind bars and to bring them to justice. But your companion Artie has allowed you a place to stay, a place that seems to be off the beaten path, but accessible to all the amenities, and seems to be off the grid as well, as it is maintained by many solar panels and it seems hijacked Wi-Fi, perhaps, as well as stolen Netflix passwords, and a variety of other services. But you've also spent a lot of your time with Eliza, who you've continued to develop a relationship with, picking up where you left off in maintaining her property and trying to bring it back to a state of being. Happily, that progress seems to actually be holding. That the messes you clean up aren't quickly replaced by another mess of the same variety, if not worse, but rather it is staying clean. And that the waste doesn't seem to pile, it instead seems to be working its way out. And what was a destroyed heap of a trailer is now seeming to take on the appearance of a home once again. And Aiden, time has always been a funny thing for you. It's always been whatever passes between hunts, whatever the next meal is going to be, whatever the next run you're going to have is. So it doesn't feel as off-putting to you that time has passed. It doesn't feel off-putting to you that the seasons have changed as much as they have. Maybe a little bit more so that there isn't snow on the ground, and that the cool in the air just seems to come from the northern wind and from the cold fronts up north. But you have regained your habits, your routine of going on a hunt. You've regained your day-to-day way of being, but you still have that nagging pull that seems to pull on something almost primal inside you, calling you home, calling you to the forests that you once called home, where your family used to run free, knowing and dreading what could very well be happening to them, feeling that your purpose is here, but that your loyalty, while with the pack and the nation and the guru, is still somewhat divided. You can't forget where you came from. You can't forget what put you where you are now. Tonight's story begins with Aspen as she finds herself sitting in Regina as the Jeep kind of rolls its way down one of the many Tampa avenues, kind of just on a leisurely cruise this particular evening with no destination picked out, no particular end game in sight. Artie, of course, behind the wheel, driving casually, occasionally muttering affirmations to the vehicle as it rolls along. The car is much cleaner and more maintained, probably more so, Aspen, than you have seen ever since meeting Artie, as Jester has taken a firm interest in making sure Regina is appreciated, especially after her efforts in the Umbra and her assistance in what could have potentially saved you all from a much worse fate. On this particular evening, as you're driving down the road, there is the slight hum and thumping of some EDM house music, which is turned low enough that it's not disturbing your ability to speak, but just seems to be the soundtrack of Artie's existence on a day-to-day basis, as it can almost always be heard when he arrives and departs. There is a large energy drink can in the center console that is popped open, Artie occasionally reaching down to take sips from it as he drives. And the scene is yours to begin as you take a ride down one of the back roads outside of Tampa.
Aspen is dressed more appropriate for herself, a little bit done up in like a nice skirt and kind of a blazer. It's kind of what she's comfortable in most of the time. And she is sitting kind of listening to the bumping in the background and turns to Artie. Does she even like this music? Have you even asked her?
She doesn't seem to have a preference. I think she'd prefer it over us trying, or me trying to converse with her nonstop. I think I don't know. I think she likes that it sounds like machinery, like order. Like, I know there's a lot of EDM and a lot of other types of music that sound like utter chaos, but I usually tend to find like good house music that has kind of a rhythm to it, like a heartbeat. And I think she kind of appreciates that. Or if she doesn't appreciate it, she hasn't died on me yet.
That's fair. I guess she could change it if she really, really wanted to.
As she could. Sometimes she does, when she doesn't like a particular song. Like, she doesn't like a lot of the modern covers. My Humps, especially, is not a favorite of hers. Not a favorite of mine either, but Spotify, BBC Spotify, you know?
Fair enough. But how have you been since we've been back? What have you been up to?
It's been weird having a roommate. Jester keeps my place clean and, like, makes sure there's groceries and shit and picks up it's very weird. But I haven't had anything like it in a really long time. It's kind of nice not to be alone after having just kind of got by on my own for so long. And definitely feels like more of a pack mentality, I guess, which is an adjustment. But good. Otherwise, definitely better than being in the Umbra, being chased by horrors from the beyond. How about you? How are you?
I'm good. I went back to work, got back to some normalcy after, tiny little monsters and um jumping off of a roof. It's been nice kind of having some normal as we can have it at this point.
All right, I didn't want to fangirl in front of the others because I'm trying to be all like mentory and, the experienced guru, but holy shit, like you just rock like through the roof. That was bananas. Like I knew you could do it, but then you actually did it, and that was holy shit, girl.
Was it was a lot of help from you. I mean, I wasn't going to. And then you so, lightly pushed me into doing what needed to be done, which I don't think I've ever properly thanked you for. So thank you for, screaming at me.
Thank you for saving all our lives. I mean, I know it's scary. It feels like there's a fire burning inside of you all the time. That there's something that if you just let it go will burn the earth to ash. But we have to remind ourselves, we have to constantly remember that it's the earth that gave us that fire. And it wouldn't let us have it if it really thought we didn't have what it took to control it. If it didn't think that we needed it. And if it didn't believe in us, we wouldn't have been the ones picked. There's something special about you, Aspen. That's why you were picked. That's why I was picked. That's why Aiden and Jester and Joseph were picked. We are special. And we might not know how all the time, and we might not feel it all the time, but Gaia, she can be a fickle bitch. There's no question about it. She can play some pretty serious fucking games with the spirits and whatnot, but she picked us. And maybe it wasn't in the best way, maybe the timing. And he kind of gives you a more direct look at the mention of that. May not have been perfect, but she's dying and she's desperate. And so we have to accept that it wasn't on purpose, that she wasn't trying to curse us or hurt us or take things away from us. She just needed us more than ever. And if we do what we're supposed to do, if we answer the call and we fight the fight, I have to believe that there's something waiting for us at the end of it all. Some just reward. And I'm not talking about heaven or any kind of, religious dogma like that, because God, who knows if any of it's right after the things we've seen. But like, there's a reason. There has to be a reason. You've said it yourself. It has to mean something, and I believe that it does.
I think it does. I don't think it was a coincidence. We're all together. It's just a lot of funny ways of making those things happen. A lot of, I don't want to say unnecessary, but I can't think of another word.
So are you ready to talk about it yet?
Maybe. Why don't you start off telling me what's your deal? What why are you here? Why did you stay?
Tampa's my home. You know, even before I was all of this is my home, and I take some sort of ownership over that. Maybe a bit of the wolf's always been inside of me because I'm very territorial about my home. And I know there's a lot of things I can't control and a lot of things that I can't stop, but there are a lot of things that I can. A lot of this area isn't made up of true natives. Actually, Florida natives are fewer and further between than you'd think. It seems like those that are born here don't realize what they have and they end up running away because they want to see seasons or they want to, it's too hot or Florida people are weird or whatever it is, they leave. But I never once wanted to leave. Travel, sure. I mean, who doesn't want to travel? Who doesn't want to see Europe and Asia and hell, even Canada? But this is my home. And I love being here. I love what this city, what this area has given to me. And yeah, I feel kind of protective against all the others that come in and, take it for granted or take advantage of it or kind of use it as a vacation getaway, dump their trash here and then leave. But this is mine. And I may not have been here to fight for it when the fighting was necessary, but I'm here now. And someone's got to look after it. Someone had to look after it after all the others left, or what would be left of it? And frankly, the change had to mean something. Because it took a lot from me. But the city still gave me things after everything else was taken. So I owe it to the city to do right by it. Or else I'm just running away like everybody else.
Well, you're a better person, werewolf, whatever, than me.
No, just different. He kind of takes the car and pulls it off on one of the side roads that goes down by the water, kind of getting off one of the major streets, and pulls the car over so that it's facing out near Lettuce Lake with the headlights kind of shining over the water surface. You didn't run away. You answered. If you wanted to run away, this is the last fucking place you would have ended up, believe me. You went where you were needed, even if you didn't know you were needed at the time. Something drew you here, not an escape from what you left behind. Maybe you came here because this is the place that is going to teach you what you need to know to face what's waiting for you back there. Like a sabbatical or a training montage.
Be nice if it was a montage, then I would just know everything right away. That would make things a lot easier.
Right? Holy shit, those first few years without any kind of mentor or teacher where I'm just I don't know, waking up a dog one day or digging through a trash heap and then all of a sudden naked. Very jarring. If that could have just been summed up in 2-second flashes and then all of a sudden I'm a kick-ass werewolf, that would have been pretty good.
Or just one weird, spirit dream that just gave you the A's disease of werewolf. That would have made life way easier.
Aiden talked about time travel, but if there was time travel, holy shit, that would have been amazing. Like, just skip ahead. Can we skip to the good part where, like, I've got it all figured out and I know what I'm doing? Because, like, I'm pretty sure I'm still not even there yet.
I don't know if you could tell this about me, but I'm not great with not knowing things. So this is jarring.
No. But it's your turn.
Yeah.
We can stall if you'd like for a little bit longer, but I'm going to have to find out eventually if I'm going to be able to keep helping you.
Um, I wasn't like one of those people that just like woke up and was happy to have these things.
Fuck no, why would you be?
I don't know. Sometimes the way Joseph and Jester and even Aiden talk about it sounds like some gift, but it's not always the case. Um, I I lost somebody. Um, and it was my fault.
Who? At this point, he
Um,
reaches over and turns off the radio so that it's just the two of you. Even Regina, who kind of putters and hums, seems to just die down completely.
um, his name was Hayat. Um, he was he was he was important to me in a lot of ways.
Boyfriend?
Something like that.
I'm sorry.
It's just hard to see it as a gift, you know?
Pretty fucking expensive gift.
Yeah.
I know how that feels. I I had a little brother. He would have been 20 this year. Uh, my dad, I'm sorry, my sperm donor, uh, wasn't around while we were growing up. And my mom was working all the time. And so I was kind of the parent, but I was I don't know if I was fit to be a parent, but you get thrown into these roles, and whether you like it or not, you have to step up. And I was, shit, still a kid myself at the time. Well, my mom, she got sick, like really sick. And we couldn't afford to keep paying the bills. Like, she was the breadwinner. I was trying to go to school, but I ended up having to drop out of school. And I had to find ways for us to get by one way or another. It's kind of where I learned some of the tricks that I still employ now. Wasn't worried about doing it the legitimate way because it had to be done. Like I said, whether I was fit to do it or not, I needed to do it. So I did it. I stole, I hacked, I pickpocketed, I did whatever had to be done to get by. Unfortunately, no amount of money could stop what was happening inside of her. She had lung cancer. Because she had been working in a factory that didn't have the best safety regulations. And we didn't know how bad it was until it was too late. So then it was just me and my brother. And we got by. But property value being what it is, it was hard to kind of stay on top of things. I didn't. When my change happened, I don't know if you've ever seen it, what happens to the normals when you change. Something fucks up in their brains. They can't look on us, or they can't make sense of what we are. He was so scared. He was so scared that he ran. Like he should have, because I was a big hulking flesh beast of fur and fangs and claws. But the problem is, when you run, you don't always pay attention where you're going. He ran out into the street. And unfortunately, Florida drivers aren't best known for their ability to pay attention to what's happening in front of them, and he was killed. Of course, I didn't find that out for the whole night, because I was too busy not really knowing what I was doing. But I found out the next morning. So yeah, I get it. It's not a gift. It has a very, very heavy cost. And though it doesn't always seem that way, everybody is paying a cost. Because once you change whatever normalcy you think you might have, you can never go back to it. We can't have happy little houses and happy little families. We can't have any of that. And some might seem okay with it, but everybody experiences it eventually. That reality is going to set in, that we are going to fight forever in a battle that we probably won't get to see the end of. And everybody mourns that in their own way. We paid a lot up front, you and me. But at least we have that in common now. And you don't have to be alone with that. And I think, as ridiculous as it may sound, if he knew what you were doing with it, if he knew what he was sacrificed for, could really comprehend it, he would have been honored to pay the price. I have to hope that. I have to believe that. Because it has to mean something, right?
Yeah. Just, they didn't get to choose. We didn't get to choose. And, just, I guess, something we have to learn to move on with and choose it from now on, I guess.
Yeah. One thing I've learned, another thing I've learned, I should say, is that choices are kind of an illusion. Like when you peel back all the layers of government and businesses, like, fuck, look at the worm and the umbra. All this shit is constantly happening that we have no knowledge of. And now seeing it, like, it is brain wrecking. We don't choose anything. We manipulate it, we push it, we can, try and balance the scales, but this shit is happening whether we like it or not. And we just have to choose to push back and not just let it sweep us away.
Right. I, I'm working on it. It's just, it's a lot of, it's a lot.
Already kind of lets go of the steering wheel and kind of holds out a hand to you with the palm facing up.
She'll grab it like hesitantly and then grab it.
Take as long as you need. And if you need to talk about it, I'm here for you. The others are here for you. They might not fully grasp it, but in a pack, we're only as weak as our weakest members. And you're not weak. You're not weak at all. If we know what each other has been through, we can reinforce those weak moments. And you, as a leader, reluctant and hesitant as you might be, you get to set the standard for that. When you're ready.
I'll do my best.
You're gonna be amazing. If that rooftop is any indication, you're gonna be fucking rad.
Thank you. While we're on the subject, can I ask a favor?
Yeah.
Could you just keep an extra eye on Aiden?
Why? I mean, yeah, but why?
He's going through some stuff with his family. And I think you understand him on a level that I can't. And I just want him to be okay. He means a lot to me. He means quite a bit to me. I'll never tell him. I don't think he'd understand, but I just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
I was gonna do it anyway, but now that you've asked, I'll do it. I'll redouble my efforts.
Thank you.
We got this. It's gonna be a bit. There's gonna be a lot of bumps along the way, but this is what it's for you to lead, for us to run together and to kick some fucking leech ass. With that, speaking of Aiden, we are going to transition to our second scene where we find Aiden and Jester. Despite all the strange things that have happened, both of you needed an escape of sorts. Both of you have these responsibilities, these lingering issues pulling at your mind. So you decided to go for a hunt. And we find ourselves in Lettuce Lake Park. Aiden, your familiar turf, you deciding to take point on this particular hunt to help Jester get away from the city mindset, from the social media influencer mindset, from the interconnectivity of technology in modern times to a more rooted and nature-based means of escape. We find both of you in your lupus forms, having run through the forest a bit. Aiden, you taking lead towards one of your more populated spots, to a place where you know game is usually easy to find. You, being the experienced hunter, don't find this particularly challenging, but you do know that part of being a skilled hunter is teaching the next generation of hunters, is teaching the rest of the pack, because no one in this pack, especially after all it's been through and with the challenges ahead, can afford to be weak. So as both of you prowl through the undergrowth, moving under the canopy of trees that hang overhead, their long stalks kind of shading the ground, blocking out a lot of the star and moonlight, I would like you to make a wits and awareness check. Four successes. So as expected, you know that there is a particularly lush area where the ferns grow tall, a particular plant that a lot of the wildlife, especially of the buck and deer variety, likes to feast upon. And without a doubt, your bet's paid off. Despite the fact that you have hunted this place, you being a predator by your very nature, being one who's been raised in an environment similar to this, know not to overhunt a certain area. You can't show them that this particular area is dangerous. You have to give them that false sense of security to return. So it's been some time, a few months since you've hunted this particular spot, but that bet, that patience has paid off. As you see, 2 deer, a doe and a buck, feasting upon some ferns on the forest floor. Seemingly, at the moment at least, from your vantage point, unaware of your presence, but both of you have stopped and are as still as possible, deciding your approach. A beautiful thing about the Guru is that they can communicate and understand one another no matter what form they are in. So feel free to talk, nothing too complex, but you can communicate as if you were speaking English to one another at this time. The scene is yours.
Aiden will look over to Jester. Which one you want?
Are we taking them both?
Well, yeah. I will eat one to myself.
Oh. Okay. I'll go after the doe.
Okay.
It's
Go
smaller.
for the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Try to go below where the head meets. There's a big pulsing thing in there. You bite that, and they drop down pretty good. They are going to shake, and there's going to be a lot of noise. Just hold on.
Okay.
Okay. And he's going to start stalking forward.
Okay. So I need both of you to roll dexterity and stealth as you make your approaches. Now, in the form of your lupus form, you do gain a bonus to your stealth checks of 2 additional dice as long as you are in lupus. Okay. So as you both separate from one another, kind of trying to make your way around, Aiden, you are as quiet as the grave as you make your way through, not being very mindful of where each padded footfall hits the ground, avoiding clumps of leaves fallen from the cool weather that's passed through the area recently, making sure to stay downwind of any kind of odors that you might give off that might alert your prey. The buck doesn't seem to stir. Jester, as you pass on the other side, this is still very unfamiliar to you. You're more used to more urban environments. Even in your lupus form, should you dare to kind of venture into it, you've always felt more comfortable in more urban environments. The feel of concrete and broken pavement beneath your pads would feel as kind of moss and dirt would feel under Aiden's. But this time you don't have that luxury, and you're having to pad your way through this kind of unusual terrain, feeling your nails kind of sink into the earth beneath each footfall. It feels almost kind of unsteady, not as firm as the pavement would. But as you make your way around, you manage to stay quiet enough, though there are a few unsteady footfalls that rustle bits of leaves, causing the doe to kind of look up momentarily. They don't seem to spot you as both of you find your positions closer to your quarry. How do you wish to proceed?
So we're at either end.
Yeah, you've basically circled around so that the 2 deer are in front of you, coupled together. Now, there are still 2 potential angles that they could go off, but you do, for the moment, seem to have them pinned in. There aren't enough of you to completely encircle them, unfortunately.
Right. Aiden will drop down even lower and kind of like shimmy his shoulders a little bit, kind of dig his claws into the dirt, preparing to launch forward and make eye contact with Jester to mimic kind of what he's doing and go when he leaves.
Jester's going to follow his lead and try to shimmy down and just wait for him to give the go ahead.
So, Jester, I'm going to give you 2 options for the dice pool I want you to roll. While this feels natural to Aiden, this is more of a mimicry or a performance for you, as this body is still unfamiliar in a lot of ways. You're still settling into it. So I would let you roll either wits and performance or wits and animal ken.
Okay, I will take wits and performance.
Okay. So now you are literally studying his movements and trying to do exactly what he does.
Two successes.
2 successes. It's a little rough. Aiden, as you're studying, you can see her kind of shaking out, but it more seems like if a wolf were to climb out of a stream and shake off the water, it's a little more like that and a little less like loosening up the muscles and preparing yourself to spring. But it'll do. It doesn't seem to have alerted the deer waiting nearby.
Going to wait for the deer's eyes to go just below the brush when it goes to feed again, and then launch forward.
All right, go ahead and give me a wits and insight check as you are trying to study their movements to see if they are still very relaxed and if they are still going to go to eat.
2.
2 successes. Okay. From what you could tell based off of their initial movements, they seem to be fairly relaxed, and you do see that their eye lines have dropped below to start feasting on some of the underbrush.
Gonna take off, going for the buck.
Okay. So you spring into movement, lurching off of your back paws and kind of going into a straight run as you prepare to leap towards the buck. Now, are you going for a called shot, as you had explained to Jester, of going for a very specific location, or are you just going to kind of barrel into the side of them?
With this one being a buck, gonna go for the called shot. Want to just make sure
Okay.
that I want to deal with, antlers.
Okay, so I need you to make a... We'll go with strength and brawl. However, as you are going for a called shot, it will be a -2 success penalty. So you subtract 2 successes after your roll.
Six.
6 successes. Okay, Jester, are you leaping into action as well as soon as you see Aiden moving forward?
Yes.
Are you going to also attempt to go for the called shot?
Since he suggested it, yes, I'm going to attempt to do the called shot where the jugular.
Okay,
Or
so give
where
me
yeah.
a strength and brawl -2 successes after you roll.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay.
Seven with a crit.
Okay. So, Aiden, you are so well versed and practiced at this that it comes almost second nature to you as you leap forward, unlatching your jaws and bringing up your claws and kind of like attaching onto the side of the buck, going for the jugular and attaching yourself to it. Your fangs kind of bearing deep into the flesh. You can feel the warm, hot blood kind of already start emanating from the jugular and starting to fill your jaws. But the buck doesn't go down as you had hoped. However, next to you, Jester, springing upon the doe, does so almost identically, if not even more clearly, as she barrels into wrapping herself around the doe itself and bringing it down to the ground just based off of the force of her strike. Her jaws also extended around the neck of the doe that lets out like a braying sound as it collapses and hits the ground. Jester, you have the doe pinned, and if you can maintain your grasp, it will die immediately with a good shake. Aiden, the buck is not pleased and is going to attempt to shake you off and kick at you, or possibly rake one of its antlers into your side. So I need both of you to repeat the roll you just made. But you do not have the -2 penalty as you are both considered grappled at this particular moment on your targets. . 4 successes. Okay. So, Jester, with your doe pinned, you start kind of shaking your head in a very feral motion, causing the doe to continue to bray out until its last bray is cut silent with the sound of a ripping combined with a snapping motion, and it just kind of twitches and stays dropped to the ground. Aiden, you are not so fortunate as the buck has its footing. It kind of raises up with a strong ferocity and starts clubbing back at you, kind of starting to cause you to detach and causing your fangs to kind of rip through the throat, but not quite tear it out, as its flesh seems to be a little bit hardened and a little firmer than its doe companion. It does hit you with a hoof, clubbing you in the side and kind of sending you sprawling a little bit, doing 1 point of superficial damage to you as it kind of detaches you from it, and it turns and starts to run the opposite direction away from you. What are your intentions? Jester, you have fallen your prey.
Can I use my favor of the Gale Stalkers and track this deer as it's leaving?
Sure. Yeah, you can do that.
What role do you want me to do to follow the scent of blood?
Let's go with wits and survival. Jester, you have your prey down, and you could begin feasting, but the still very human side of you doesn't know quite how to feel about the very, very raw, hot flesh that you seem to be kind of have within your mouth and in your jaws.
I'm gonna release.
Okay.
Lick my chops as I glance up, watching the buck, and then look to Aiden. Do you need my help?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Aiden, you have a direct focus. You can follow that smell of blood. You can hear the sound of the hooves beating. You can see the footfalls in the earth beneath you, lit up by the stars and the moon shining through the trees. You can give chase. Give me a dexterity and athletics roll as you take off going after your prey through the forest. It goes bounding ahead.
4 successes.
4 successes. You are able to keep pace with it as you continue to chase it until it kind of finds a small open clearing where some of the trees are a little further spread apart, and it kind of wheels around knowing that it's not going to be able to shake you so easily, and it kind of lowers its head with its antlers and starts pounding at the ground, preparing to turn and rush towards you.
Yeah. While running up, he'll stop, let out a growl towards it, and then lunge forward.
Okay, go ahead and give me a manipulation and intimidation check to see if you can lower its dice pool to combat you out of fear from the growl that you've just given off.
2.
2 successes. Okay. The deer seems unperturbed as it begins to charge forward. Give me either a strength and brawl or a dex and athletics if you want to try to avoid the horns that are coming charging at you.
No, I'm going for the kill, then strength and brawl.
Okay, are you still going for a called shot? Are you looking for the same location, or are you just going for whatever you can get a hold of?
Right now, trying to bite whatever he can get a hold of.
Okay, so go ahead and give me that strength and brawl check.
7.
7 successes. Okay. So as it lowers its head and starts charging towards you, the sound of the hooves kind of stamping on the earth, it kind of huffing, you could hear kind of a slight gurgle and a weakness in its breath as the punctures on either side of its neck seem to be inhibiting its breathing. As it keeps its head low, you manage to kind of duck out of the way at the last minute, lunging forward and kind of grabbing a hold of one of its legs, causing it to kind of topple end over end over itself, crashing into the ground and into some of the undergrowth underneath the trees, skittering away from you. You feel your claws kind of dig into the side of it and rake the back of its legs, most likely severing a tendon of some sort based off of the way its leg kind of goes limp, causing it to topple over. You can declare your final intentions as it is now down prone, but it is struggling to try and get back to its feet. Its one leg completely useless at this point.
I'll walk up and put one paw over its face and the other one over its shoulder. Been going for the final bite on the throat.
Okay, give me one last strength and brawl, but I will not. I'll just take you have a -1 success penalty just because it can't move as readily, but it does still have antlers sticking out that it could kind of whip its head and try to
That's fair.
poke you.
Another 7.
7 successes will do it. Without any hesitation, the paws on either side, despite its kind of jostling, trying to move you off, its already weakened state doesn't allow it to do much good as you bury your muzzle into its neck, causing that kind of same hot blood to spray out of it, and it lets out its final bray as you tear out its throat, and it falls limp to the ground. Your feast has been prepared. Jester, you have seen all of this from kind of nearby. They didn't get that far away before their combat ensued, but both of you have your meals for the evening. What are you doing next?
I'm going to attempt to drag mine a little bit closer to her.
Okay, give me a strength and athletics as you try to do that. Since now you're more pulling than you are fighting.
4.
Jester, what are you doing?
I am, at the moment, tasting the blood. And seeing how I like that before.
It's weird. It's kind of an inner conflict. Part of you tastes pennies and kind of a thick, syrupy viscousness that is hot at first taste, but is kind of quickly cooling. But the rage, the animal within, delights in it. This is your kill. This is your superiority taking shape. And so there is a bit of a conflict taking place here. Now, because of that, I'd like you to make a composure and resolve check to see if you can keep the beast at bay and maintain a little bit more control, or if you are going to give in to your more feral form and just let it do its thing.
2 successes.
2 successes.
Wait, hold on. I need to make sure on one thing real quick. Right, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. While it feels wrong, that feeling of adrenaline, that pure rush of beating something, when you felt like you've been on the losing end of so many conflicts, where you felt like you just keep getting hurt, you just keep getting downtrodden, you keep losing and having things taken from you. This victory is just too sweet for you to resist, as not just the blood, but the meat starts to enter your jaws, chewing away, digging and ripping at some of the hide and peeling it back to get to the warm kind of flesh beneath it. You start digging into your kill. Aiden, it's a drag. It does take some time. You have to kind of jerk and pull and kind of find another appendage to kind of latch onto and pull, but you do manage to pull it at least out of this clearing and into the trees a little bit more. It getting caught up on kind of roots every now and then from some of the nearby trees, but you do kind of pull it closer towards Jester. And as you kind of have gotten it into a place where you're like, okay, this is far enough, you look over your shoulder and you can see the lupine form of Jester just burrowing into the kill, delighting in and tearing at the flesh. You can hear the slight snarling and almost like a weird crunching, slurping kind of noise coming from the devouring that's happening from the kill nearby.
Aiden will give a like really big wolfish grin before diving in. He is going to make sure not to eat the liver of this particular kill for reasons I'll explain after feeding.
So both of you feast upon your successful kind of quarry until you feel your bellies are full and you feel the nature of you satisfied. Aiden, you feel that urge, that need, that requirement of being a Gale Stalker sated as you kind of devour your fill from your kill. Jester, as delightful as the experience was of devouring your prey, eventually you do regain awareness of what's happening here as you kind of subconsciously or unconsciously shift back into your Hamid form, finding yourself feeling a little bit queasy, maybe a little bit uncomfortable with the amount of raw meat you've ingested, as it is not your particular taste.
Fight down my gag reflex, kind of just wipe my face, start spitting out little pieces of fur.
Give me a stamina and resolve check to see if you can keep what you've ingested down, because it is definitely it's not sushi, that's for sure. It has a completely different taste.
Just red meat.
Just red meat.
Two
Raw and
successes.
uncooked. 2 successes. You are able to maintain. You're able to keep it down. You do feel the bile kind of, it wants out, but you're able to kind of keep it down for the most part, as you do kind of pick the meat and the flesh and the fur out of your teeth. Your face still very much matted with blood. The kind of silken weave-in bodysuit that was given to you by Regina is still covering your form, but definitely covered in blood on the front side of it. But you are able to keep it down. Aiden, you have finished your meal. You are happy, but you do know that your companion is kind of going through it a little bit. You can kind of sense that this was a unique experience for them. Aspen has refused to do this kind of hunt with you the entire time you've known her, so you know that Jester must have been feeling some sort of way to take on this challenge, and that it is probably something new for her. But the scene is yours. The two of you may talk amongst yourselves.
Aiden will go back into his Hamid form while holding the liver, walk over and just kind of like pat Jester on the back and kind of like, you can't have this, but what'd you think?
So many things.
Good, right?
It was fun and oof.
You took it down really well. Like that was impressive. The buck, I think I missed.
Yeah, I think I got lucky.
But no, I think you just did really well. Obviously, because I told you what to do. But I won't
yes,
take all of
I
it.
I totally followed your lead on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It should pass. The couple days or even later tonight, the liquid stuff might come out. Not this end, but the other one. So,
Uh-huh.
but you should be all right. Drink water. I think that's what Aspen tells me to do when I'm not feeling well, is drink water. And then she goes inside and leaves me alone.
I will definitely try that. But still, thanks for doing this. I kind of
Yeah.
have a lot of energy I've been trying to expel.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot's happened, that's for sure. So the hold, going to the other place, kind of did a number on everyone. Are you doing okay?
Surprisingly, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
It was all weird,
Well,
definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I don't know what's going on with my friends.
Do you know where they are?
They've been taken, arrested.
That's the big concrete box buildings, right?
Yeah, they've been locked away.
Oh.
Put in cages, I guess you could say. They got blamed for, we all, me included, and them, got blamed for what happened at the power plant, the explosion.
Yeah.
And so the people, I think, that are connected to the vampires are also connected to people that already had it out for me.
You need to
And
pick your enemies differently. Those are not good choices.
I didn't know they were connected. Something to know now.
Although we did kick the vampires' butts last time, so we can just, rinse and repeat that.
If we could do something like this to the people holding my friends, I would feel more confident, but now we're kind of entering Aspen's territory. A little bit of mine. I can tell stories, I can spin things. But I don't know how to get around the whole legality thing and not end up behind bars.
Yeah, that is more Aspen's speed on things, but she'll figure it out. She's good at those kind of things.
Yeah, it's just the not knowing is driving me crazy.
I totally understand that. But we'll get them. Don't worry. We'll get your friends out, and everything will be just fine. We'll take care of the leech issue. We're gonna be rebuilding, and everything's gonna be great. I don't know how to do this stuff. I'm trying.
You're doing a good job.
Thanks.
How about you? Are you all right?
Uh, he'll look to the carcass like, I'm good at this. This is what I know. This is how I grew up. And he'll gesture to himself. This I'm figuring out slowly. The different combination of things that you can feel at one time is overwhelming. So
Yeah.
that's hard to deal with. I didn't know you could be angry, sad, and happy all at the same time. I thought those were going to be separate things, but no. I'm dealing. I'm trying to work through the uh, different things that I'm being called to do. Aspen's been helping as much as she can as far as that, but the calls that I'm getting, not like actual calls, but like my inner calls are getting stronger. To hear and going back home. So I'm, trying to work through that. But no, I'm good. I'm great.
You don't sound great. You sound. I believe the word we use is conflicted.
Yeah, the ripping feeling.
Yeah. If you want, I could help talk about it and maybe offer a little bit of insight.
Yeah, they'll kind of just plop down. So my family that I grew up with, that I brought up, was taken when I was still younger. That family's been found. They're not in a great spot though. They're at some chemical testing thing. And from what I read, they don't treat animals in general well there. So I have to get them out of there, but I can't be at two places at once.
Yeah. First of all, totally willing to help you. Whatever I could do with your family. But I definitely understand the pull of the life that was and the life we live now.
Yeah. Although if I was what I was I wouldn't even know that they were like that. I was just a lone wolf out there.
Right. So at least you do have the ability to do something about it, and you are aware of it. And you have us. We're your pack, and we're willing to help. And also, I'm willing to 100% dogpile people who do testing on animals, especially chemical testing like that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
It is terrible. I'm not going to go into everything that's terrible.
No, my phone went into a little too much into what happened. So
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're in similar situations.
yeah, yours is a little bit easier to handle because it's here.
Yeah.
Mine is all the way on the other coast.
I mean, we could always take a road trip.
I do like road trips.
You like sticking your head out the window, don't you?
Okay, I did that a couple times, but I kept getting yelled at to bring my head in. But don't. It's fun, all right. If we go on a road trip, you have to try it. Okay, just put your head out,
Okay.
let the tongue go. It's a whole thing.
I will give it a try until they yell at us.
But it's just Aspen. Your head's out the window, so you just say you can't hear them until she pulls you, and just give into it. She can't actually pull you; she's not strong enough. But just go with the clothing tug. But thanks for listening. I'm trying to figure out how to talk about things without jumbling up the words.
Well, yeah, if you ever want to talk, I'm here.
I appreciate it.
And yeah.
But I gotta get this liver back home.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know this, but the alphas are supposed to eat the liver of the first kills. So I'm gonna give it to Aspen and watch her get really upset about it.
Oh, should we bring mine too?
Did you eat yours?
I'll look over. I'm not sure. Let's not.
Yeah, mine's whole and from the buck. So let's We'll take it back and it'll be fun.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, if you cooked it, she might actually eat it.
No, it's gotta be raw. It's tradition and stuff.
Okay.
So
He'll
two
get up and
members of
start
the
walking.
pack, troubled by similar circumstances, divided by location, one in the southeast, one in the northwest, have a lot in common, but still have the troubling knowledge that you can't be in two places at once. At least, not that they know of. Which takes us to our final scene before the break. Joseph, despite being extremely, excruciatingly, exhaustingly busy with the moving from the old location to the new, with the constant and incessant tracking down of clients, trying to bring them back in, trying to make sure that there's a steady flow of income, you somehow find the desire, the drive, and the will within to continue pursuing your studies, as the knowledge that you have sought for so long, a knowledge that maybe you got glimpses into with grandma back home, seems to be at your very fingertips. You hold the Book of Rights of Eliza Ross, and while a lot of it seems pretty easy to understand, considering all of the knowledge that you have pursued throughout your life, because of all of the kind of mysteries and secrets you've been able to unlock about the beyond, the universe, nature, a lot of it also still feels very foreign. A different language. Despite being written in English, there are words that just don't quite make sense. Connections that are hard to make, that seem simple on paper, but in practice still seem to be just out of reach. The annotations that Eliza has made in the notebook help. They definitely give a direction and kind of give a little bit of guidance, but putting all of the pieces together, it's like being shown the Encyclopedia Britannica for the first time. It's overwhelming. And it is a lot, as it opposes a lot of what you've known and a lot of what you've learned. So you find yourself another night after a long, long day of work at the trailer park in Eliza's trailer. And as mentioned before, the maintenance that's been done by Jester, by Aspen, by even yourself, seems to be sticking. And when you arrive at the trailer and you make your way in, you can see that the step, the squeaky broken step on the porch has been repaired. You see that the go away welcome mat has been removed and replaced by something a lot more pleasant. Something that looks to be a star-based pattern of constellations that have been put into the welcome mat itself. It looks like this welcome mat was stowed away for a very long time, as you could tell that it is dusty and dirty, but it has been lovingly taken care of. You open the door, making your way inside. You can see that the windows have been scrubbed. There's still a distinct scent of cigarette smoke in the air, but it is not as overwhelming. Some habits are just hard to kick. It's a road back. It's not a one hop stop back to redemption, as Eliza is sitting in her recliner, but she seems to actually be dressed for the day, not just wearing a bathrobe, but actually wearing what looks to be a kind of simple blouse and slacks, as well as some tennis shoes on her feet. She even looks like she's taken the rollers out of her hair, and her hair kind of hangs comfortably loose off of her head down to her shoulders. And she appears to have a pair of reading glasses on and is looking through another of these journals, kind of looking over the pages. But she does have a cigarette hanging out of her mouth, an ashtray sitting on the table, not overflowing with butts as it was once before. No mail kind of loosely strewn about the table. Everything seems to be cleaned up for the most part and feeling a little more comfortable as there are lights on in the establishment and it doesn't seem to have the same dusky quality. As you arrive, Eliza kind of calls over from the chair. Late night again?
Yeah. Getting close to being done, but it's been a lot.
Boy, this is gonna take a long fucking time if you're gonna keep showing up all tired from your job.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna take a long time regardless. But I gotta be able to eat to keep studying.
That being said, she kind of gestures over to the countertop that goes by the kitchen. I ordered in. Go help yourself to something and come sit down.
Thanks. I'll head over, grab some food, and come back.
You see that she has ordered some Chinese food. It's still warm, as if she knew you were going to be late, and it was delivered just before you'd arrived. But you help yourself to one of the containers and make your way over to the couch that kind of sits across from her as she lowers her spectacles and kind of looks over them at you. Something's got to give. You can't keep all these balls in the air. You ain't a juggler. You hear me? If you're going to do this, you're going to have to commit. We've all lost something. So where did we leave off? And she kind of settles back into the chair, closing the journal and setting it on the table.
I think we were halfway through Cairn building.
Cairn building.
Yeah.
It's not too dissimilar to building a house. It's a lot more construction on the other side than it is on this side. But the concept's the same. You need a good foundation. Now we have that. Luckily, a lot of that work was done before. Your friend, or should I say our friend, was our foundation. She might be fussy, Joseph, but she's a friend of the Guru. And once you show her that you're capable and that she's not signing up for another failure, she'll forgive you. Now, we have the foundation, but it's been a long time. Too long. There's going to have to be a lot of patience, but also a lot of fortitude, inner will that we're going to have to pour into this. We're going to have to peel back the overgrowth. We're going to have to trim and pull back the weeds of the worm, the weeds of the wild. Yes, they're important. They're part of it. It's all a balance. You need all of the energies to make these things work. But sometimes when it gets too far one way or too far another, it can disrupt the gateway. The spirits will tend it for a time, but they rely on us to do a good share of the labor. So we can't expect too much help at first from her. In fact, we might even see some resistance. But if...
I was
Go ahead.
I was thinking about that. We're gonna need to do physical work there, and like on this side as well. We're gonna need to be in there to do that. Um, so I was thinking about finding a way in. Maybe switching jobs. I gotta keep eating. I need a job to pay the bills. And the shop was great for flexibility and for cover. But if I'm gonna be spending all of my time studying and looking at the cairn and taking care of the park, then I'm not gonna have time to sit at the shop. So thinking maybe take a gig being a groundskeeper at the park. Could be in there on an official status. They'll pay me, right? Not great money, but I can eat. And I can be in there. I can do the work. I can, show her I mean business.
You sure you got the knees in the back for it? You don't seem like the physical labor type for me.
I'm not the fighter type, but I'd rather be outside than inside. I kind of miss all of the hikes. So yeah, I got it.
Well, you know you're not going to be able to keep them pretty painted little nails of yours anymore.
Oh no, that's fine. I just put an extra lacquer over top.
Oh, I see. Would be good for her to see you around there. She's going to make it
Awkward.
mighty uncomfortable for you at first.
She already has. Yeah, I know. But it's not her. It's not just her in there. I saw that the first time I went. I mean, there's minor Banes in there, picking at her. And if I can get rid of them, I mean, they're the ones that, reached out and touched me. She just, intimidated me. So.
Well, there's a few things we can do. Some prevention we can take. Maybe, she kind of pushes herself up out of the recliner, which kind of squeaks beneath, and you can kind of see her straighten up a little bit, and she's standing a little more tall than she has in the past, a little less hunched over, but you can definitely see her hands go to her lower back as she kind of stretches out, and you hear the creaking of her bones and a little bit of a pop every now and then, but before she kind of starts shuffling her way down the hall and into the back bedroom. A few moments later, she comes out with what looks to be a beaded bracelet. This is a talisman. Do you know what talismans are?
Yeah.
All right. She kind of presses it into your hand. The Banes don't like this one so much. Not when it's on this side. On that side, it's not nearly as effective because that's their turf. But this is ours. It's made from this very ground. It's made from the dirt and the clay of that very cemetery. When you wear it, it disguises, it makes you part of it, like you belong there, like you're not something meant to be repelled or something meant to be attacked. What Banes are drawn to are the foreign energies, or at least a lot of them. A lot of your jaglings, a lot of your little ones, they get drawn to the emotions and the passions and the alien kind of energy that we give off. This will help kind of subdue some of that energy. Now you got to keep your calm, because the will of a guru or a man alike can overwhelm such things like nature and earth. But if you are focused, if you find your center, your balance, your level, this will make you, for a time, no different than the very earth you trod on in the eyes of Banes and spirits. Now, the bigger ones, like her, they'll see right through it. They know what's meant to be there and what isn't. But they're not the ones you are trying to avoid in this case. They're not the ones that are standing in the way as much. They're the ones you need to deal with, not the ones you can avoid.
Thank you. I'll put it to good use.
I know you will.
So the Banes, the little ones, they were like way back, right? When there was balance, they would have been like the white blood cells, right? Just going after the things that don't belong and putting them back in order.
Correct. A lot of the spotters you told me about, the pattern spotters on
Yeah.
the other side, they're all about weaving, building, putting things right. Some might say they're an obstacle for us because they like to cover up the holes we make. They like to seal up the cairns, and if they had their way, we wouldn't be able to cross over at all. But it's just them doing a job. They
Yeah.
see a wound, they try to fix it. But yes, it's similar to that. They are doing what their energy requires. The wild spreads, the weaver builds, and the worm destroys. So the worm would be kind of like a bacteria, but also sometimes kind of like an antibody.
Yeah.
Problem is, it's been too long and too strong the other way that it's eating the stuff that is supposed to be there.
Yep.
But yes, I think that makes sense. Might as well be doing both the work at once. I think
Yeah.
the tourists and college students can do with a little less spiritual insight for a while, at least until we have some stability and we're not just waiting for them to become food for the leeches.
And they're not looking for depth. They're not looking for real guidance anyway. The readings I give them are just what they need to hear to keep living their lives. They'll be all right.
They will. Plus, I'm sure there's some other charlatan that can tell them which
Yeah.
stock to invest in, or whether the girl that they're chasing actually likes them or not.
Yeah, there's plenty. There's plenty. So do we always stick out the urges?
We are different. So, yes, in a way, we
Yeah.
stick out because we're only ever half present here. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. When you're divided between two worlds, that kind of makes you a little odd, a little different, because you're seeing a picture that not everybody else can see. You're hearing words and whispers and voices that the others don't hear. But that's why we're necessary. We have to be the go-between. We have to be the translator. Do we stick out? Yes. But not in a bad way. Not always. Some of the more rough and tumble, punch a hole in it, rip its throat out types get a little impatient with us.
Yeah.
But we're necessary. Because if we didn't exist, the Guru wouldn't exist. We would have started out as a tribe of riders, tearing down everything in their wake, only to be destroyed. We keep the balance between the anger and the other. But there's a strange, fascinating experience you're going to come upon where you are alone, but you're never lonely. Because you're never actually alone. You have your fellows on this side, you have the spirits on the other. You are going to be fraught with friends, dear Joseph, but you are going to be fraught with enemies too. Because they, especially after all this time, a lot of them don't like us knowing their business. They don't like us speaking their words. They don't like us interfering with their machinations, especially the servants of the worm.
Did you ever see the other ones? Not spirits, but the other things on the other side. I guess ghosts.
I've seen a lot of strange things on the other side. There are others that have found a way across. Maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. Ghosts, certainly. Some of them are just impressions of the emotions before they died. But others are very much as you would imagine ghosts to be. Wraiths is how they've been dubbed.
Oh yeah, I remember that word coming up back home once or twice, but I was never in the conversations. They'd look at me though. The elders would look over my way. Some of them knew I could see more, but I wasn't old enough yet to be taught a lot.
Your tribe, I've always had a knack for that. That's kind of their specialty. Talking beyond the Umbra, beyond what I've heard them refer to as the shroud, the veil.
Mm-hmm.
But there are others that have found their way into the Umbra. I don't know how. I don't know why. But I've heard them referred to as practitioners of the arcane. Wizards, I guess, of some degree. Sorcerers, some that have tapped into the magics of the wild, have found their way over there. I don't know if they know what they're messing with. I don't know if it's by happenstance, by accident, by foolish negligence. But you have to be wary of those types. For them, it's not a living thing, it's an energy, a power, a source. There are also those that dream, but they dream in the Umbra.
Yeah.
There are a lot of wonders and a lot of terrors on the other side. In your, I assume, limited experience, you've been able to see some of the wonders, maybe a few of the terrors. The remnant is just a taste of what you could experience.
The city, I've only dipped into the other side and inside the city a few times, very briefly, to kind of get my bearings. But back home, it was wild spirits. It was Gaian spirits. We were in the woods. It was nice. And here, it's so different. The first time I went in, I watched. I guess I'd call him a dream eater or something. Watched a dream spirit, you know, attacking some poor kid in his sleep. And then I ran into ghosts and tried to help the ghosts and upset Grandmother Willow. Like, and that was. I don't know if I could run the streets here like I could run the woods back home on the other side. It's loud. It's different.
You have to.
I know. I know I have to.
You have the eyes, Joseph. You can
Mhm.
look before you leap. That gives you an advantage.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to use that advantage. This is the Weaver's world. This is the worm's husk, its host. Yes, the wild isn't as prevalent, but it is here. If you focus on learning about order, about the Weaver, about building, creating, you can better understand the streets. What you have to remember, though, this is very important, the difference between the city and the wild, the city and the woods, is that the city evolves so much faster, and what is here may not be there. It hasn't been around long enough to make an impression. The wild, it's unpredictable, sure, but it's constant. It's been there. It's evolved and lived and remained for a long time. Here, a business might be built and torn down before it even leaves a mark on the Umbra. That's why you have to look before you leap. You might see stability on this side, but the Weaver hasn't gotten its webs in it yet on the other side, and it might just be a hole or a remnant or an impression of what was there before.
Yeah, I think I'll start at the park, the cemetery, and then work my way out. Start mapping. See what I can find.
Don't
And
go
who knows?
alone. Find one of the others to go with you. I might even take a journey out there once grandmother isn't feeling so shitty towards you.
Yeah, of course.
But you
Buddy
always go
system's
in
important.
pairs. can't go alone into the Umbra. You
Oh,
get
no.
confident. You think that the spirits have your best interest. You might even befriend a few of them.
They
But
have their own motives.
Exactly.
That much Grandma taught me, even before I came over to this side.
She's a wily bitch, but she is intelligent, and she knows what she's talking about. I guess her and I have that in common.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to be leaving the shop, where are you and the others going to be fit to be gathering?
I don't know. I mean, even the new location doesn't have as good of a room. I mean, I can get him in the back through the fire escape while I'm there, but the layout's not the same. We don't have the same kind of space. So I don't know yet. I mean, they're all staying somewhere else. I think they're up at a park, but I think that's kind of a low key place. I don't know if we'd want to meet there. And we're not ready to meet at the cemetery regularly. It'll be a while till we can do that. So I don't know. I'll have to ask them, see what they have in mind.
Well, for the time being, as long as you keep taking out the trash, I suppose y'all could stop by here. Someone's got to look after you bunch of mutts anyway.
Well, I'm sure they're going to appreciate that just as much as I do. Thank you.
We'll see. That lawyer girl keeps giving me eyes like she knows something. I like that Jester, though. All right.
They're good people.
Well, call them over. We got work to do. Can't all be studying. Got to get some boots on the ground and idle guru make destructive playthings.
Yeah.
And with that, we will take a brief 5-minute break. And when we return, the pack will reconvene to discuss what their next course of action is. There's a lot of paths that lay ahead of them, each equally dangerous, each fraught with their own consequences. Will they walk it together? Will they divide and walk it separately? There is a discussion to be had and a plan to be made. We'll see you back here in 5 minutes. We are back. In the first half, various members of our pack had interesting conversations with other members, including the newest addition in the mentor, Eliza Ross. But now they find themselves together once again, reconvened in the trailer belonging to Miss Eliza Ross, their previous hangout gathering spot of sorts having uprooted and moved to its new location on the second floor. But this place is becoming more like home each time you visit. What was a very off-putting and very uncomfortable surrounding before, finding a sense of familiarity, a growing warmth, and a interesting glimpse into the old way of doing things and the new that this pack seeks to form in the city of Tampa. Everyone has arrived and assembled within, having been picked up by Artie from their various locations and brought to meet with Joseph and Eliza on this particular evening to plan the next steps of what will be a very, very long road to reestablishing the Guru and the Guru Nation within the city of Tampa. That being said, the scene is yours as you all come together.
Aspen, I don't see why you just don't eat the liver. I don't see what the problem is.
We're done discussing this. I'm not eating the liver.
You have to.
I will eat it tonight and it'll be delicious. It'll be so good. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow.
No, I want to watch.
Well,
I want to watch.
Yeah, see?
I'd like to watch too.
Ah, we should have brought it with. See, now it's going bad.
Did you put it in the fridge?
I don't know if she did. It's not in the trash, right? 'Cause that would be a real shame.
You know, Aiden, you could compromise. She could cook it and then eat it.
Yeah, but it's gotta be like raw.
Why does it have to be raw?
Because as the leader, they get the liver.
But that doesn't say it has to be raw. She's still going to eat the liver. It's just cooked.
Fine. All right. Next kill. I'll save the liver. You can cook it and prepare it however you want. But it's gotta be eaten that night.
Sure, Aiden. But we're here to discuss important things, so that's what we should be focusing on. And she
Most
pulls out like a black notebook and flips to a page.
Should we be taking notes? I was never good at taking notes.
Well, you don't have to take important things. I was thinking, because we have a few things up in the air, correct? I wanted to do this a little bit differently, and I wanted to go to each of you and figure out what your priorities are as far as what we need to be doing. And then we can make a list and we can prioritize it from most important to least important in the grand scheme of things and kind of go from there. Yes?
Sure.
Okay.
Good, good. So let's start with Aiden. Aiden, priorities. What do you think is most important and what do you have on your mind?
Well, what do you need from me? I've never built a Karen, so I don't know what you guys need from me to help with that. So just let me know what you need to get that. I feel like that should be our biggest priority, is to get that thing up and going. Because once we have a better staple point here, it's going to help with everything else we're going to be doing.
Okay, good. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? She kind of looks at you, like gives you like a long stare.
You should ask. I told you, we're here for you.
There's a rattle of glass bottles in the kitchen as Eliza pulls a beer out of the fridge, muttering to herself, I already fucking regret this. And you hear the psst of the bottle being opened. And as she walks out, she seems to be holding a Bud Light, but it seems to have a, like, piece of tape over it with the word Tuesday written on it. And she kind of makes her way over to her recliner and settles in it. Boy, you better speak the fuck up or this is gonna take all night. And I ain't got all night. She takes a drink out of the bottle.
Man, you were somewhat nicer to me when you were anyways.
Yeah, you wanted business mode. This is business mode, so get to yapping.
All right, common thing that's been on my mind is my family's up north and they need assistance getting out of the situation, but it's not a concerning precedent due to the fact of the things that are going on here, so it doesn't really need to be brought up at this moment.
Well, I think everything is important to discuss so we know what things are on the table.
They're currently being held in a animal testing chemical thing. Don't know a name, just know that it's somewhere in Oregon.
The company is out of Oregon. Aesop, I believe, was the name, as part of what it controls that particular company. I have more notes. I can go grab them if you would like.
You just point and tell me, but at this moment, that's it.
Okay. We will write that down as Karen's and Aiden's family as things that need to be talked about. Jester. We know you're friends. Any more news or anything that you can give us on that?
No, I haven't been able to hear anything about what's going on with them. I've been able to get some funding to help with legal fees and such, but I'm at a loss of what to do other than turn myself in. But I'm feeling, since it's connected to the explosion, either the prosecutor is using this to get back at me because he already works for someone who has a problem with me, or he's connected to the vampires.
Okay.
So there's that. I agree with Aiden about the Karen being most important. We probably don't want to wear out our welcome for Eliza.
Right.
And I'm also concerned about Ryder. It's been 3 weeks and no idea what's going on over there.
That is a good point. And she'll write down Ryder on her notebook. Yeah, we should probably look into that and make sure he's not blowing up any more buildings. Okay. Joseph, do you have things that you would like to bring to the table?
Obviously, my job, my perspective is going to be focused on the cairn. However, that's not a quick job. It's not going to be a quick job, and it's not going to be something we can like hurry. It's going to take a good bit of work and a good bit of time to get the space ready to even try to start looking at doing the right and try to actually like build that on both sides. So while it is a thing we're going to be working on, we should be working on it, we should be looking at, it is not a thing that we can make our right now priority. We can't ignore it. We can't just wait. But like, it's going to be work every day a little bit, but not like 24 hours worth of work. So I started talking about a plan before you guys got here of being able to do some of that work more regularly. I think I'm going to try and get a job there and be there on the ground. So that while I'm happy we're talking about it, I don't know that as a group, like besides like going in and doing some cleanup as a group, which is be great. I don't know that trying to like speed run building a cairn's a great idea. I think we need to take it, give it the time it needs. So the other things that are more time dependent and possibly can be done quicker might be worthy of going after or looking into or figuring something out.
Okay. And we can discuss how we can all help make that a possibility, as far as that goes. Okay. Eliza, you're new to the group. Do you have anything to bring to the table?
Besides my humble abode, it's a difficult thing. You are inheriting, simply put, a mess. An untended garden grows a lot of weeds. And like Joseph was saying, rebuilding the cairn is going to take time. But, that being said, can't really get much worse, at least not quickly. If it's not your first priority, might need a little bit more work on the back end, but it's been like this for a decade. Most of the damage is already done. So, the issue you're facing is that two of your pack, at least two, aren't going to be fully present until what is pulling them, what is distracting them, is dealt with. Now, time was, I would advise just cutting the ties, taking the losses, and focusing on what's most important. But time was, there were more of us, and the fight was at our doorstep. We needed to maintain an upper hand. Right now, the element you have is the element of surprise. Not all your enemies are going to be aware of the threat that you pose. Not yet. You need to find yourselves present. You need to be here. And you need to not have these other entanglements pulling you apart. But also, if those entanglements are what motivate you, if they're what give you purpose, if they're what makes it all worth doing, then you need to restore those. You need to secure those. Well, I don't like the thought of you all traveling out of state. Once the cairn is built, there is no leaving. You have to stay. You have to protect. You have to defend, and you have to tend it. It's a lot easier to do if you're just dealing with the local issues than if you're dealing with something far off. I wish that there were more of us. Then I would say you could handle all these issues at once by sending different groups off to handle it, and maybe one day we'll return to a place where we can do that. But that day is not today, and it's not now. The issue with the present problem is that you might expose yourselves. They will learn that you are here. They will learn that you exist if you go to face them. But also, if you don't act soon, who knows what could happen if it hasn't happened already. I can open negotiations with some of the local spirits. I can start talking to grandmother again, though I doubt that she is pleased with me either, having left her be for so long. But I'm hearing her again. It's unfamiliar, but also kind of nice. I can look after the cairn, or the formings of the cairn, whatever y'all do, wherever y'all go. And I can tell you that it won't go nowhere. It won't get much worse in the time that you're handling your business. But I'll start the process, at least the early stages, of building. And when the time comes, and I require Joseph's aid, I'll need him back here in whole. And then eventually we'll need the rest of you, because you're going to be bound to the cairn just as much as we are. Yes, we are the builders, but it's not a home until it's occupied and lived in. If I had to guess, based off of what you're saying about your family, Aiden, it's less likely that you're going to run into leeches out there. That's remote. It's not very profitable to leeches. They lack cities, they lack people. What you're going to be dealing with are other servants of the worm. Maybe just corrupt, greedy humans. People of commerce and business. Whereas, Jester, your friends are in the belly of the beast. The leeches own the law here. They own the politics here, and you can be damn sure they own the prisons here. You're gonna need a lot more subterfuge, a lot more. You're gonna need a lot less fangs and claws in dealing with the leeches here. Because the minute they find out that you're here, the minute they find out that you're a problem, they're gonna unleash her again. I have no doubt of that. And as I've told you before, she's killed our kind with no issues. So you're going to need to use all of your connections, Miss Weiss. And all your technological savvy, Jester. You're going to need to find your way in with your wits and guile, and less the skills that Aiden can provide to you. I will spend some time trying to see what I can find out from the spirits about that area, about the prisons nearby. I'll try to look at things from this side. Or from that side, I should say. But from this side, there's going to be a lot of red tape to get through.
Right. If that's what we're looking at, prioritizing between Jester's friends and Aiden's family, I think there's a lot we can do on both sides. The one thing I do want to bring up is Jester. Do you think, because it doesn't seem like things have progressed since the initial capture, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, do you think that you're the catalyst for that progression?
Yeah, I think I am. Whatever they're doing, they've been keeping it tight. I'll look to Artie. I mean, even Artie hasn't been able to find anything out. So I feel like they're waiting to apprehend me.
I do know where they are. Artie pipes up. I have the prison record of where they're being held, the roster, the inmate catalog. I don't know what the fuck to call it, but I do know where they are. Now, I can tell you they haven't moved, and I can tell you that they are, as far as I can tell, safe. But yeah, that's all I've got at the moment. I know where they are, if that helps.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Based off of that, this is just my opinions and my thought process. Based off of that, if they're waiting for you to become a catalyst in what will become a legal nightmare, I'm sure, maybe we can prioritize Aiden's family, which in its own right is going to be difficult because we don't know exactly what we're getting into there. But I can work on my legal defense for your friends and for you as we're doing that. And with the Karen and infancy and Eliza being here, that'll be taken care of for the most part. The only outlier that I'm worried about besides everything that is all of this, is Ryder. If we're gone, who's holding him at bay.
So, crazy idea. Two birds, one stone. With your legal defense and ideas, and maybe with Artie's tech savviness and hacking, could we possibly throw them? I know they currently have friends in custody, but could we throw enough evidence at the powers that be to get them to change targets to the actual perpetrators of the crime, to Ryder's gang, and get them to get, because they're probably looking for someone that's not normal at this point. If we think there are leeches involved, give them somebody. If we can do that, if we can plant something that would point them to Ryder, which I'm sure we can find, that might be able to do two birds, one stone.
That's actually an excellent point. The
That's-
problem. Go ahead. Sorry, Jester.
I was going
go
to say
ahead.
that's brilliant. I would never have thought of that.
The only problem I have with that is thinking future, if there are leeches within that, which we've all but, then they're going to find out maybe through him that we're here. And then that leaves the Cairn vulnerable, and that leaves Eliza vulnerable if we're gone.
Maybe. I'm partially betting that he's not going to talk and he's just going to claw, and they're going to put him down. That it's a bit of a bet. It's a bit of a wager, but given him, I don't know if they're going to get much out of him. And the other guys don't know anything about us.
We're really wanting to put one of our own just out like that, though. I get that he did us wrong, and I'm not a huge fan of him, but throwing one of our own out like that feels a little wrong.
Yeah.
Does a bit. But isn't it honorable to take responsibility for what you have done instead of voicing it or letting it fall on someone else?
Yeah, because he's doing that to us.
Right, but it'd be less honorable for us to turn a dishonorable thing towards someone like that. If we take something that's dishonorable to do more dishonor to that, doesn't that put us into the dishonorable position?
I mean, if we were lying, maybe, but we're just giving actual facts to the powers that be.
The powers that we're trying to fight, though.
Yeah. Some
I
of
do
them.
find I do have a bit of an ick to giving one of ours over to vampires. Even what he's done. Like if it was just the authorities, yeah, but I'm getting some ick on the vampire part.
It would keep him distracted, though. Like, I get where you're coming from.
On the other hand, another thing, we could bring him in. It's just he's a big risk for us. We could bring him in and see if he would be willing to get them off of Jester's friend's trail, but that's probably going to come with a big IOU that I don't think we're willing to cash. That's my problem. Is that's another possible solution. It's just that comes with a lot of possible issues for us in the future.
One of us could go talk to him, see where his head's at. We haven't seen him for almost a month, if not more.
Not it.
So, given what he said before and how he thinks of humans, he will see Jester's friends as expendable and, sacrifice for the cause, because the humans are worthless and they all should be burned down anyway, in his words.
Right.
So he'll have no interest in saving them. He won't care.
Unfortunately, not knowing that they are actually some of the good ones they fight.
Yeah, to him, there are no good ones.
Counterpoint, Artie chimes up. What did he want most from us? Our help. He wanted more Guru fighting. What if, and I'm not a fan of this, but what if we sell him on the idea that it's kind of a tit for tat situation? Help us get our friends out, and we can work together, that he will have more help. Now, I don't know what kind of job he's going to want us to do. Like you said, is that a debt we want to owe? But I don't know. Maybe we just could play his game against him, use him in some way.
So what methodology are we thinking of using to get Jester's friends out? Are we gonna smash and grab and break in and break them out? Are we gonna prison riot? Are we gonna get them to be released legally? Like, depending on which style we go at, he may or may not be useful, and then
Well,
he may or may not just blow up the whole prison.
He's in a biker gang, right? He probably has some guys in there. If anything else, if nothing else,
He has
that's
connections.
intel. That's people on the inside. That's, I mean, shit. I've seen enough prison movies to know that they smuggle shit in and out all the time and that they can, I mean, pull some stuff. Maybe, if nothing else, we buy them time and protection in the prison by the bikers. I mean, he says he hates humans, but he surrounded himself with humans. Now, whether those are meat shields or tools or whatever he wants to use them as, he still seems to have some sort of. He sees the need for them. He's not a one man army. I mean, he
Right.
is. I saw him fight. Fuck. But, like,
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
he has his own pack of sorts. Maybe we use that. Hey, get our guys protection. That'll buy us time to get Aiden's stuff figured out. But we will owe him. There's no doubt about that. And we have to decide, again, is it going to be worth it? But at least we'll have eyes on him. We'll know what he's up to. And that connection will be still there rather than this unknown where we could read in the paper tomorrow that something else is blown up or some other people have died or who God knows what.
I like this idea. Also, he could get messages into them, so they know that they're not alone.
Right. Right. And who knows? Because, you know, biker gangs don't get their infamy from nothing. There's intelligence there and there's scheming. Maybe he has a plan that we haven't thought of. Like maybe he can kind of lead what has happened to a rival biking gang. Like we don't know what he can do, but the least we can do is talk to him. The only issue I have with that plan is the big IOU that I know we're going to have. And if that it's like the trolley debacle, right?
Yeah, but can't you put stipulations on it?
I mean, we put stipulations on it before. Hey, let's not maybe blow up the thing if we don't have to. He still blew up the thing.
Yeah, but we put them at the last minute, even though I'm pretty sure he knew we'd say no. Um, just consider like a negotiation or part of the deal. Like we're willing to do a big ask, but it's like, no, this, and this. We won't help.
There's
It's worth
also
a try.
there's another possibility. We point him at the chemical plant. We send him out west and his people.
I don't trust it. I just don't feel comfortable with that at all. Putting the lives of Aiden's family in the hands of Ryder, I don't feel comfortable with that at all.
Second.
Yeah, if
Third.
he does hurt my family, I don't know if I can contain that.
But they're not human. Maybe he'll think of them differently.
I'd rather us be put in a precarious situation than his family. I can't get behind that.
Or we send Aiden with them out there. Aiden gets his family out. They do whatever the fuck they're gonna do, which we know is probably gonna be big and bad and explosive and probably nasty, but it'll be far away from here, so they can't do any damage to what we're trying to do here while we get Jester's people out. I don't like it any more than you guys, but I mean, we have to look at all the tools we have available to us, and sometimes it's gonna get messy. And it's gonna get brutal. But I mean, we're not, we're not were rats. We're not small, like we're big destructive wrecking balls, and sometimes we have to use that when we need it.
If Aiden goes out there with them, then I'm going to go too. And I can still help from this side with Rachel and what I can with research and getting a legal defense worked up. But if Aiden goes, I'm going to.
Aspen, what if Ryder's going with? It's not going to be a nice little walk in the park. It's going to be nasty again. Same type of thing that happened last time we were with Ryder.
I'm aware.
Plus, she's known how to get big and furry now, so she's getting a little
It's-
more comfortable with that.
I'm still worried about her getting hurt, though. Yeah, you can be big and furry, but you can still get beat up. You can still take scrapes, bites, explosions hurt.
Aiden, Aspen's gonna get hurt. That's unavoidable. She's our leader now. She wouldn't want any of us getting hurt before her either. We have to accept that. I hate it as much as you do. I've kind of gotten fond of the little business suit. But she's gonna get hurt. We just have to be there to make sure it's not deadly.
Knowing all
Aspen?
this,
Go ahead.
knowing all this, what do you prefer, Aiden? All of us together, or you and Aspen and Ryder?
I don't know. I've been in a situation before where I've gone out with a sibling in a sense and come back and the pack is gone and the sibling is no longer and then alone again. I get there's strength in the pack, but I feel like it'd be stronger if I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Wait. I think I got something. Jester, you said you didn't want to be the one to go talk to Ryder, but I think you should be the one to talk to Ryder because maybe we can make him owe us. Maybe he doesn't know that you're paying for it. Maybe he doesn't know that you had to have something taken from you, and if you make him know that, maybe we won't have an IOU. Maybe he's the one with an IOU. He brought us the job. We did our part with enough spin. And I know you've got that silver tongue, you little songstress. Maybe we convince him he owes us.
He does. No, that's right. He owes us. And if we call on his honor,
So if we have the IOU, we get to set the rules for the next job. It was his job, and as much as we hate the fact that he did what he did, it was his job and he would have done it with or without us. And yes, it sucks that all those people died. I agree. It was messy and it was horrible. But it was his job. We were just pieces. We were tools at that job. But now, if it's our job, he has to be the tool. And maybe we get to set the rules.
And we can get him to help get your people out. And it, by whatever it means, I don't think breaking them out's going to work, because that means that the government and whoever that is going to know that they've been broken out and they're still going to be wanted. They're going to get arrested again soon. So we need a redirect, and he can help us find a redirect that'll be palatable to everyone. And with his connections, we could find some way to pawn it off on somebody who's done something as bad, right? Not just some innocent. But I like playing it on him.
Right. No,
Or-
I really enjoy that idea. But now the question is, do we want to use him for Jester's people, or do we want to use him for Aiden's people?
I think we have more of an argument for Jester's people. We could probably use that guilt, that owing, more that way. And I think the group of us, the 5 of us, can get Aiden's family out.
But also, we got to consider what their strengths are. If they're going to be a good smash and grab tool, might as well use them where smashing and grabbing isn't going to be as much of a problem for us. I mean, I'm hoping if it's an animal testing plant, the people in there deserve what's coming to them, and that there aren't possibly dozens of, passerbys. And again, I can't help but thinking that they're a stick of dynamite sitting in the city. If we can get them away from the city for a little while, under the guise that they know what their target to extract is, because their only concern at that power plant job was destroying. But if we give them another primary goal and destroying is just the benefit, I mean, I don't know if he's going to feel guilt about the humans, but what he's going to feel guilt is that he hurt one of the nation.
Right.
I mean, worst comes to worst, we got to secure him first. We got to talk to him and make sure that he feels anything about this and doesn't just blow us off. But
Yeah, we could leave the job open to whichever one we think he's going to go with at the moment. And at least get some use out of him.
At this point, we have a solid plan for either way. If he goes with Jester's people, then we can all head to Aiden's people. If he goes for Aiden's people, then you guys will be here to keep an eye on him, and your people will be okay. And that'll, yeah, okay. I guess it's just about having a conversation with him and seeing where it goes.
Yeah. If this is because this does seem like a matter of honor, are there any particular like traditions I should know when speaking to him about, or should I just come in angry?
I don't think you want to go in angry. If I know anything about Moots, he'll just challenge you to a rite of combat to determine who's right. And if that dented cage and Aiden's busted ass body tells me anything, that's not a fight you want to have.
All right, then Silver Tongue, got it.
There's another possibility for your people. It's fucking gross. I could pull some strings to get some switcheroo action going. But we'd have to have somebody to send in. Somebody's going to have to take the fall for it. But I could switch some identities around, swap some photos, and if we get his people to make a switch in the cell, buy off some guards, but somebody's going to have to fall for it. Your people will be out. I can get them fake IDs or whatever, get them cleaned, but somebody's going to have to go in.
Let's save that for like Plan Z.
All right.
That's if they want to start a new life, though.
I feel like that should be the absolute last plan if other things just don't work out. I don't think they want to start a new life. I think they want to be exonerated for something they didn't do.
Right. Also, that gets sticky because how long is it going to last? Like, I obviously trust in your abilities, Artie, but
I can get them gone, but they couldn't come back.
right.
Right.
If I know anything about leeches and the stories, they've got long memories and they won't forget it. So those people will
Right.
have to disappear and stay disappeared.
Yeah. Last ditch plan.
I said it was messy, and it's gross, but I mean, is it about what's right or is it about protecting people you care about?
Both? If I start just only looking at protecting the people I care about, how am I better than the vampires?
Eliza kind of speaks up. Because the vampires don't care about anybody. Not really. They consume. That's all they do.
That sounds really lonely.
They're monsters. Servants of the worm, and the worm eats.
Well, on that note, I think I could speak for all of us knowing that we want to leave this place better. And I think exchanging a life for a life isn't better. I don't know if we could say it's worse, but it's definitely not better.
Just more of the same.
I didn't say it was nice. Already says again. Just they have an upper hand on us. They have something that is important to Jester and therefore important to all of us. And as long as they have that, they're winning. And they can mess with that whenever they like. Whenever we get too close, whenever we pop up on their supernatural radar, they can pull that plug and know that they hurt us.
Yeah, that's why I want this to look like they went up the wrong tree. My preferred outcome is that they realize, oh, this wasn't the people involved, somebody else was involved, wrong place, wrong time, to kind of get rid of that path, to disconnect. I know it's pie in the sky and probably not the most likely situation, but I'd like Jester's friends to not be connected to this in the end so that they're not watched.
I think we could get them exonerated with the fact that there's not enough physical evidence. It's all circumstantial. We could make that happen. It's just putting it on somebody else. If they wanted to, if they do find out about us, they can find another reason to bring them in. So really, this is just putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole, but at least we can get them out of there, and then we can think of what to do after the fact and how to keep them safe. But for now, it's really just trying to get them in a safer position.
Did the cameras actually get any facial things to actually say that Jester's friends are the ones that did it?
They,
Couldn't
from
have.
from what Jester had told me, it was circumstantial evidence about them researching the plant, and then the explosion happened. So therefore, that's really all they're going off of, is using that evidence to incriminate them, from what I'm understanding. Is that right, Jester?
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is when researching, I'm not sure if they did anything illegal to get the information. Um, Usually they just provide the information to me to be able to do it, so I'm not sure what they went about doing, and that's possibly what they have them on.
But can't they just lie and say they didn't?
Eh, it's like it's like saying you didn't kill this deer, but the deer is sitting like right in front of everyone dead, and your muzzle's covered with blood. They have proof.
Oh, I got this. Okay.
Okay.
So, it's like a field, okay? The internet, the devices, it's like a field, okay?
Yeah.
Certain things we do in the field leave footprints. And they can match the footprints to the feet that made the footprints. Well, if they stepped somewhere they weren't supposed to step, they can find that footprint, match it to their foot, and say that they went somewhere they weren't supposed to. It's like if you went into someone else's territory, you know how like pee on the trees to say this is mine, and you
Yeah.
went over there and they
And pee on
found
the
a way
tree.
to tell that you were over there, they could fight you.
Don't pee on the internet. All right.
Don't do that. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. It's really weird. Other people pay to see it too. But anyway,
People will pay to watch me pee on the internet?
that's a conversation for another day and possibly a money making opportunity. But we'll talk about that at some other time. All I'm saying is they could make the footprints too. If they have somebody like me over there, I could make anybody guilty of anything if I wanted to.
That's
But
fair.
what about mixing the plans? We get them out on bail, and I make them disappear.
That could definitely work for a temporary fix.
They give us a window.
Yeah.
Then nobody gets pinned for it. I mean, they're still going to be hunted, but there are plenty of places we can send them. I can get them plane tickets to anywhere you want to go, and give them new names. They might feel kind of squishy about it, but it's better than being in a prison cell and potentially being food.
We can send them to a state that doesn't extradite. Give them a window.
Okay.
Just something to consider. We'll put it in the plans stack. But if we can get them out, I can get them gone.
Okay.
Question. Now this might be stupid. Joseph, you said when we step into the Umbra, it's the same world, just different, right? In a way. Is it possible to break someone out of prison through the Umbra?
Not them.
Oh.
I don't think we can pull humans through the Umbra.
Oh,
I
you'd
think
have to
you
bring them
can-
back through, huh?
I mean, we just have to fight our way out. We could get in if there's a
Yeah.
door over there, but we couldn't take them out the way we got in. We would have to do it the old fashioned way of fighting our way out.
Also, isn't it easier to enter a prison than it is to escape
Yeah.
one?
I mean, we could just go big and jump a wall or something to get in.
Or get arrested and thrown in the
Yeah,
same
that's
prison.
even easier.
But also, And you kind of see Artie get a little crestfallen. They can't see us do what we do.
No.
They can't comprehend it.
Oh yeah, they get all weird about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so all good plans. We have a few plans up in the air now. What do we solidly want to do? We have the Ryder plan. I think we're all pretty on let's get Aiden's family. It's just a matter of how we want to go about doing it so we can kind of put 2 feet on both sides. So what is everybody thinking is the best option that we have?
I think we're kind of waiting on Ryder's response, right?
Yeah. I think at least our next step currently is for me to figure out how to approach him and what to say to him, and we talk to Ryder. See, I guess, what he's willing to do.
Okay, okay. It's a good plan. We can talk about some of the ideas that we have, talking points. Off topic a little bit, Joseph, before we leave this area, if you'd like, because I know the topic of Grandmother Willow, I believe her name was brought up. I can help with, making her a little bit happier if she's upset with you, if that might help.
Maybe. I think I need to do a little bit more work before I have a conversation. But I'll definitely want to be bringing friends along that can talk better than me.
Yeah, and we can bring her a gift. I have a whole thing for that, so I have a right that make her a little bit happier.
Also, if you're going to be caretaker, if you need me over to help clean up, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, I figured we'd do some team building and hang out and some trash pickup together or something.
Yeah.
As a downtime, little relaxing afternoon out or something where we're not fighting big scary monsters.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, from what I can tell, we have to talk to Ryder and then see what we're working with before we move forward with either of the two plans.
I think also it really comes down to you, Aiden, on whether or not you want to have your pack with you or Ryder and his giant clawed fist. You could take a few days to think about it.
I'm not strong enough to lose you guys. So, I don't know.
Aiden,
Hmm.
we're better together. And there's no guarantee that you leave by yourself and we're not, I don't know, eaten by leeches. I don't know how that works. And it'd be just antlers, right? The things. At least if we're together, we make sure we all keep each other safe, right?
Yes, but we're all gone. Who's here to make sure the Karen's okay? Because right now it's
We don't have one yet, and that's okay. Eliza said that she'd watch what is happening right now, and it'll
Right.
be here ready when we come back.
They aren't gonna eat you. Eliza chimes up. They don't like the taste of us. Does something nasty to them.
So just murder us outright. Okay. Yeah.
But if something were to happen out north, it'd be better to lose one than to lose the entire pack. If I just go with Ryder, and if something happens and I don't come back, the pack's still here, and the Karen can still happen. Nothing against Eliza, but you can't really have a Karen with one.
Not at this age.
My point. Nothing against you. I'm sure you were very good.
Yeah, and you could go away, and while we're trying to fight this legal battle, you come back with successful with Ryder, and then the rest of us are gone because we got found out. Either one has risks.
Yeah, that's another good point.
And
Also, I
I
don't
mean,
think.
go ahead.
I was going to say, also, I don't think Aspen's going to let you go alone. She's going to tug on your collar.
Please put him in a collar, Ernie says with a grin. I just want a photo of it, that's all. You don't have to keep
I'll
wearing
fight you.
it.
We
Please
can
don't.
make money on the internet.
Also, leaving Eliza here to take care of everything. She's too old and stubborn to, die or let anything happen. So we're good on that front. And she'll smile over to Eliza.
She rolls her eyes, but then kind of chuckles. Okay. So, reach out to Ryder, and we'll see where we're at from there. There are a lot of paths that the pack can take. All of them are fraught with danger. All of them potentially have consequences. But Guru are hardy. They take their hits and they keep on coming. They know when to be clever, and they know when to rip its fucking head off. Which of those options they choose will be uncovered in the events to come. But for tonight, they have the first steps of that path. And with all the twists and turns and forks to come, they will trod that path together as one, as a pack. And perhaps there is hope for Tampa yet. Thank you so much to these amazing players for participating in this session. Thank you to all of you for watching at home. Go check out St. Pete by Night on all the social media listed down at the bottom there. Go check up on the past episodes, which are available on Twitch and YouTube. This week, we've got a new episode of Don't Get Caught coming up on Thursday. And then on Saturday, After Dark returns, where we will be discussing the events of this past week's Kindred Con and all that happened with that, as well as potential plans and potential ideas for future Kindred Cons to come. But thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you next week, where the pack speaks to Ryder once more here on Rage Across Tampa. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, everybody.